I can't do this.
You could say, hey, I'm Sarah, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the celebrity encounters I've had over the years, and it starts with a celebrity golf tournament.
I don't have this in me. I
You do.
I don't.
You do. You can do it. So welcome back to this episode of History Hunters. When I left off on part 2 of our celebrity encounters, I left out a number of celebrities, and I also didn't include some of Sarah's celebrity encounters, so we're going to start with her right now. So, why don't you just talk about the Motley Crue thing? First of all, did you even know their music?
Not at that point. I mean, I did, but I didn't. My first celebrity encounter was of Motley Crue. I was at an airport in Van Nuys. Their plane pulls up in front of the hangar that I'm in, and I see Motley Crue written across the side of it, and I go and I run and get a camera. And while I'm getting that camera, up pull Tommy Lee, Nikki Sixx, Mick Mars, and Vince Neil. Tommy Lee starts heading for the building, so I take a back door to get into the lounge. I think it's the pilot's lounge, and I go in there and sit, and sure enough, they walk in and they made some coffee and they had left. And there I was, just this stupid kid, too afraid to say anything, with the camera around her neck, and wasn't even shooting pictures of them while they were in there making their coffee. Would have been a great shot too, because Tommy Lee had a big tear along the bottom of his so I saw his cheeks. One cheek. So there's not much more to that story. They all got in the plane and flew away. No autographs. I didn't get any autographs from them because I was too afraid to speak to them, and I'm not a forward person anyway, so
How old were you?
13. I was 13 years old. Tommy Lee was married to Heather Locklear at the time. At the LAPD Celebrity Golf Tournament, I met and got the autographs of many celebrities like Robert Forrester, Robert Wagner, Pat Boone, Richard Dreyfuss. I met Police Chief Daryl Gates, who was police chief from 1978 to 1992. His career abruptly ended for how he was perceived to have handled the LA riots and the Rodney King incident, which then led to those riots. I met Damon Wayans, who I enjoyed watching when he played Homie the Clown in the TV show In Living Color. I also met celebrities like Brian Austin Green, who played in Beverly Hills 90210. Apparently they tried to do another reboot of that and it didn't do so well. I met Scott Wolf, who played in the sitcom Party of Five. Not sure if anybody recalls that show or not. It was a show about a family of siblings who lost parents, and basically it was a show of what their life was like from that point forward. I met Samuel L. Jackson, who played in Pulp Fiction, an interesting Quentin Tarantino film. I met Joe Pesci. He played in My Cousin Vinny. I attempted to ask Joe Pesci, what's a ute? But he kind of just snubbed me and walked off. One of the nicer celebrities that I got to interact with was Mickey Jones. My mom was also there at the golf tournament, and she wanted to get a picture with him, and I stepped aside so she can be in the picture alone, and he had grabbed me around the neck and said, come on, you could be in the picture too, and gave me kind of a big bear hug. Just kind of a nice guy. I did try to get Alfonso Ribeiro, Carlton from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, to do the Carlton dance. He wasn't having it, so he kind of snubbed me. One of the celebrities who wasn't real keen on getting involved with the spectators was Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson would do everything he could to avoid having a head-on photograph taken of him. He was really kind of evasive a lot of the time.
Now, why did I do that?
And it really kind of irritated me because he was at a celebrity golf tournament in which it was to raise funds, and you were there as your celebrity, but he wasn't wanting to be famous, I guess. He didn't want to give out autographs. I got mad at him. I yelled at him, why are you here then? After I did yell that out, he did stop.
I hope you die.
he did stop. He gave one lady an autograph, and I can't really recall if he took a picture with her or not, but I think he only stopped to give her an autograph and then he was off again. They have those paved trails in which the carts can drive on, and I believe Jack had finished a hole and he needed to turn around. He drove it down. It was like a dead end, so he had to do a U-turn to turn around and go back the other way. Well, in his attempt to make that U-turn, he went up over the edge, where I had my son John in a baby stroller taking a nap, and I had to quickly move him out of the way because he was in the path of Nicholson's golf cart. When they were done putting, or they were done with that hole, then we would be able to take pictures, interact with them. They would stop and sign autographs. Some would take pictures, but for the most part, it was something that kind of kept moving.
In 1977 or 1978, we went to Sacramento and went to this California State Fair. One of the headline performers was Lou Rawls. He was there singing a number of his hits, like Lady Love. I was in college in 1979, and I interned at a congressional office for Tony Coelho, our local congressman. In 1986, he became the Majority Whip, which is an important position in Congress. 3 years later, he resigned his office over a junk bond scandal. I got to take a picture with the congressman, and I was all zitted out. I haven't had a lot of encounters with famous athletes, but I did meet San Francisco Giants pitcher Dave Dravec. In August 1989, while he was pitching against Montreal, he threw a pitch and his arm completely snapped because he had cancer on it. He lost his arm a little bit later. 3 months after his arm was amputated, I was able to see him when he appeared at a local church gathering. I had an autograph of baseball, and he hadn't quite mastered the use of his other hand to write his name. One time in the 1980s, I attended another county fair, and I got to meet Mickey Gilley of the famous Gilley's nightclub in Dallas, Texas. Other performers that I got to see and photograph over the years at county fairs include Larry Gatlin and the Gatlin brothers. I saw Charlie Daniels, and I also saw the Judds, Naomi and Winona Judd, and I also got to photograph Ronnie Milsap. A few years ago, I got to take my mother to a county fair locally, and she got to see Aaron Tippin. She had seen him a number of times. I think she's actually a groupie of his. You got to stand for something, or you'll fall for anything. You got to be your own man, not a puppet on a string. And never compromise what's right, and uphold your family name. You got to stand for something, or you'll fall for anything. I neglected to tell you previously that in my encounters with Michael Landon and Victor French when they were filming Highway to Heaven locally, that in the one scene was the character actor Lindsay Workman. He was there. He was a doctor in one of the episodes tending to an injured Victor French who had a head injury. He passed away in 2012, and his headstone reveals that he was an Army Air Force corporal during World War II. I remember seeing in a number of TV films over the years, including The Brady Bunch and I Dream of Jeannie. Also there at the Highway to Heaven filming location was Eve McVie. She had a part in High Noon, classic Western. She's actually seen in this picture here. In the mid-1980s, I attended a celebrity baseball game in Modesto. A number of celebrities were there, including Drake Hodgson, who was in Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. I mentioned him earlier. And he also at that time was performing in the soap opera Days of Our Lives as character John Black. I also got to see Beau Hopkins, who started American Graffiti. I actually saw him a number of times at the Modesto Graffiti Parade. That's where you line up on the street and die of gas fumes while the antique automobiles that are going up and down the street for hours. Hopkins appeared in over 100 films, including The Wild Bunch, American Graffiti, and a number of TV shows, including Bonanza, Gunsmoke, and The Mod Squad. I also shot a photo of this actor, but I have no idea who he is. I think he's a soap opera star. So if you know his identity, if you could please leave us his name in the comment section below, we'd appreciate it. Around the same time, I got to attend a barbecue fundraiser with John Garamendi. He was a California state official. He had been elected as the insurance commissioner as well as the lieutenant governor. He is now a U.S. congressman. Other politicians that I've seen over the years include California Governor George Deukmejian. I actually got to ask him a question at a press conference. I also got to attend an event attended by California Governor Gray Davis, who in 2003 was recalled and replaced by Arnold Schwarzenegger. I also got to see California U.S. Senator Barbara Boxer, who was in town to tour the restoration of the park down by the river. In my previous video, I explained how I was at the dedication of the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in 1991, but I failed to tell you that one of the people that I saw was James Brady. He, of course, was Reagan's press secretary, who shot in the March 1981 assassination attempt outside of the Washington Hilton. I saw Mr. Brady being wheeled right past me. Really a tragedy that happened to that man. It destroyed his life. Another very memorable moment of my life is when I went to Mount Rushmore and I saw the 4th of July fireworks celebration. That was in 2001. I remember a National Guard helicopter dropping in. It was delivering South Dakota Governor Bill Janklow. He came by to see the fireworks show just like we did. So after the event, I took a book that I purchased in the bookstore, took it up to him, and had him autograph it. 2 years later, his life would unravel. As a U.S. congressman, he was speeding and blew through a stop sign and killed a motorcyclist. He was convicted of manslaughter, spent some time in jail, and resigned his seat in Congress. Janklow died from brain cancer in 2012. That same evening, I found out that Glenn Bradford was in the crowd. He was one of the original crew members who helped sculpt Mount Rushmore in the 1930s. Helped out Gutzon Borglum. I took the book that Governor Janklow had signed and I took it over to Mr. Bradford and I had him sign it. One of the family friends that was there with him said, "Oh, that's cute." Thought it was cute that I got this old man's autograph. He was 93 when he passed away in 2006. I'm not sure if he's in this picture or not, but it's indicative of the type of crews that worked on that project. I must also apologize for the fact that in my prior video I said that former U.S. Senator Max Cleland had passed away. It's late March 2020 and he hasn't passed away. So Mr. Cleland, if you've seen this video, I certainly apologize to you. You're not dead. Just a word too about Cliff Barrows. He was the MC at all the Billy Graham evangelistic crusades throughout the United States that were televised on TV in the 70s and 80s and 90s. I got a chance to interview Mr. Barrows over the phone, and when Mr. Graham came to the Cow Palace in San Francisco in the late 1990s, I was able to converse with him a little bit when he was up at the dais. I think that's going to wrap up this series on our celebrity encounters. We want to thank you for getting through the end of this. We're a growing channel. We would love to have you as a subscriber. Also, if you could give us a positive comment and a like and share this channel with your friends, we would so appreciate it. We love history and we know that if it's presented in the right way, that you're going to love it too. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks.